Happy Tuesday, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. Today we'll be talking a little bit of Brewers. Had an off day yesterday. We're going to be leading up into the Twins tonight for a 7-10 start for the Brewers. We're going to go over that. We're going to get into a little bit of Packers preseason, then talk a little bit of Badger football, talk about what we're seeing right now with the Badgers. But with that, right away, we're going to start here with the Brewers. Got the Twins tonight coming to you from American Family Field. The Brewers finally back home after that 9-game road trip, an impressive road trip, 6-3. Had a not-so-good series there against the Dodgers, but looked better there in those other games. So we're going to get to it here, talking about the Twins tonight here, 7-10 start. Twins coming into this game at 65-60. Brewers 68-57 overall. Wade Miley is going to get the ball for the Brewers. He's sitting at a 6-3 record, a 3.05 ERA, 55 strikeouts on the season. And then for the Twins, we're going to have Ober tonight. He's coming into this one at a 6-6 record, a 3.40 ERA for him, and 113 strikeouts overall. Brewers looking at them against Ober all time. Looks like Brian Anderson and Yelich have the best success against Obner. Yelich 667 and 3 at-bats. And Brian Anderson coming in with a 500 average, 2 at-bats. He's actually got a home run against him and 1 RBI. Other than that, Tellez a 333. In this game, righty on the mound, I expect Tellez will be in the lineup for the Brewers. Not that I really want to see him in there, but I'm expecting him to get the start in there. And then probably a start from Frelick out there in center. I would love to see Canna get into this lineup, but I don't know with the way that's going to position. Yelich will be in that lineup. Contreras, maybe see Caratini actually get into the lineup here, especially against a righty. Maybe they'll give him that lefty-righty matchup that they want and then have Contreras in that DH spot. So we'll see once with the Brewers what they do. Looking at the Twins' success against the Brewers, against Miley, Kyle Farmer, he's got 2 hits, 1 home run against Miley. He's got 1,000 batting average. Correa's batting 100 against him. Other than that, Vasquez, he's at a 400 average. Michael Taylor sitting at a 333 average. And Jeffers, catcher, he's sitting at a 333. So a pretty solid matchup there for the Brewers, especially coming back home here. Just to cover, we'll cover the Twins here a little bit just to see how Minnesota has been faring this season. Oh, trying to pull up the stats here on the Twins. So far for the Twins this season, Correa's sitting at a 230 average, and that's their top 4 guys really up for it. Home runs right now, they have 2 tied actually. Joey Gallo, who has been struggling, it's home run or bust for Gallo. He's sitting at 20 bombs. Max Kepler sitting at 20. Byron Buxton sitting at 17. Michael Taylor sitting at 16. And Correa sitting at 15 for the Twins going into the season. Right now, looking at the Twins, their starting rotation, Sonny Gray's their best overall. He's sitting at a 3.15 ERA, and it looks like the Brewers will miss him in this series. So that's at least good news for the Brewers. Miss one of the aces. Kind of get to beat up on the second half of this Twins rotation here in this series. Other than that, that's about it for the Twins right now. Really anything to look at. Duran's their saves guy. If you get to Duran, 23 saves on the season for him right now. A 2.77 ERA in 48 innings. Like I said, those 27 saves. So he's been looking solid this year for the Twins coming out of the bullpen. So, but you hope they got the lead late. You don't got to worry about the Twins in a save situation there late in the game against the Brewers. With the Brewers, we're checking on the farm here a little bit too. I just wanted to check and see how the minor leagues are faring. And this is going to lead me into one of my topics. Keston Hiura. Old news. It really is old news. We've talked about him on here. I see it all the time on social media with them talking about Keston Hiura. What to do with Keston Hiura? Are we wasting his time? And I really do think we're wasting Keston Hiura's time. Sitting down in the minor leagues, AAA, he's got nothing more he can possibly prove at the AAA level for us. Besides his strikeout rate, 78 strikeouts on the season so far. Besides that, what can Keston Hiura prove down in AAA right now? 21 home runs, 314 batting average, 87 hits, 11 doubles, and 71 RBIs. 71 RBIs. And I know people will say, oh, it's AAA. AAA is not like hitting the major league pitching. It's not like, well, this is where you gauge your talent. You look down there into AAA, you see how guys are hitting. If they can hit down there in AAA at a 314 clip, he can bat 230 at the major league level. You see guys that they see down here, you're going to see them at the major league level too. A lot of them same guys that they're facing down there. Right now with that 314 average, 71 RBIs, 21 home runs, I would add that in my lineup. If he had half of that, that's still productive in this Brewers lineup right now. I believe we are wasting away Keston Hiura's time at the AAA level right now. Bring him up. If he fails, let him walk. Let him go somewhere else. Let him see if somebody else can figure out Keston Hiura at the major league level hitting wise, because otherwise we're just destroying this man's career by leaving him down there in AAA and just not giving him a decent shot back up at the major league club right now. Looking down at AAA otherwise, Owen Miller's batting average, he's dropped a little bit to 224 down there. He's got 11 hits and 49 at-bats. Tyler Black's average came up a little bit, 213. He's at 10 hits and 47 at-bats. Besides that, that's about it for hitting down there. 303 for Peyton Henry right now, 59 hits and 195 at-bats. Checking down in Double-A right now, Jackson Churro, he's sitting at a 280 clip right now, 17 home runs, 74 RBIs. Look for him to be a late season call up to AAA possibly to get some time up there. Jefferson Cuero, 276 right now, 14 home runs, 74 hits in 268 at bats for him, 9 doubles. He's been looking solid this year down there for the Shuckers. Other than that, not a whole lot going on for the Shuckers at the moment. We'll check out a little bit of pitching there. First with the Sounds. Load in here. Gasser, he's sitting at 143 strikeouts in 113 innings, a 3.81 ERA. Look for Gasser to possibly be called up to this Brewers team at some point to get either into the reliever role or into the starting role for the Brewers. Other than that, looking down in the minor leagues at the Shuckers, Carlos F. Rodriguez has been pitching solid for the Shuckers this season. 21 starts, he's got a 2.51 ERA, 100 innings pitched, and 127 strikeouts. Looking down at the Timber Rattlers right now, the high A club for the Brewers. We'll check out hitting for them right now. Mike Bovee, recent signee, draftee of the Brewers. He's sitting at a 279 average down there at the moment. Other than that, for solid hitting for Brock Wilken, first-round draft pick for the Brewers. He's got 1 home run so far in this little short stint for him there, 16 games played. He's got 15 hits overall, a 288 average, so some solid hitting out of recent draftees for the Brewers. And another recent call up there to high A, Luis Lara, center fielder. He's sitting at a 294 average right now. 5 hits so far in 17 at-bats, so solid outings from Luis Lara. He's still young. I think he's 19 now, if I'm not mistaken. And Brock Wilken and also Mike Bovee for the high A Timber Rattlers right now. 18. Luis Lara is actually 18. So impressive stuff out of a young star down there in the minor leagues for the Brewers. Looking over at the pitching side for the Timber Rattlers, and we are looking at Tyler Wolfsener, 21 starts. He's got a 4.04 ERA, 107 innings, and 95 strikeouts. So some solid stuff there. Bullpen for the Timber Rattlers. Sam Gardner, 2.45 ERA and 16 games pitched, 42 strikeouts. And Max Lazar, sitting in 16 games pitched. He's got a 2.91 ERA, 43 innings, and 43 strikeouts. Ryan Brady also down there in the bullpen, 19 games pitched, a 2.76 ERA for him, 49 innings, and 46 strikeouts. So some solid bullpen usage down there for the Timber Rattlers. Looking good so far in this short season for them. Other than that, that's about it for what I have with the On the Farm report for the Brewers. Looking at the Brewers, and another topic I want to get into, and this has been biting at me for a couple of seasons now for this Brewers team. And I'm looking at this Brewers front office, and a lot of people say, "Oh, well, they're small market. They don't have a lot of money to spend. They can't spend this. They can't spend that." They can't. They can't spend money on certain guys. We couldn't afford Shohei Ohtani if we wanted to afford Shohei Ohtani. We couldn't afford even to look at the Padres starting infield right now with Machado, and when they had Tatis in there. Now you add Juan Soto to that mix, and they had Eric Hosmer there at one point. I mean, we couldn't even afford to look at them. And I understand that whole aspect of it. Those guys, brush them away. But I'm looking at guys that the Brewers have always been in on. They've looked at, but they've never pulled the trigger on it. And I just don't see the Brewers making deals that are really completely benefiting this club. I look back at this last trade deadline and I look at, okay, the Los Angeles Angels, they traded 2 prospects to the Colorado Rockies, and in return for those 2 prospects, they grabbed CJ Cron and Randall Grichuk. Now, that trade to me looks like, okay, the Brewers addressed those same 2 positions when they were going through their upgrades. They wanted a first baseman and they wanted a outfielder. They wanted a guy for right field. Randall Grichuk, CJ Cron. CJ Cron right now on the season, he is hitting 252. 12 home runs, 37 RBIs, 740 OPS. He was injured before he was traded, got traded. Now he's on the 10-day IL as of right now, but that's where I'm looking. CJ Cron, before he got in, he's had a couple injuries this season that have had him for 10 days, and he's back. So that 252 average for him. Then we look at a guy like Randall Grichuk for when he was with the Rockies, now he's with the Angels, sitting at a 277 average on the season so far right now. 11 home runs, 34 RBIs, 790 OPS for him. Before he was traded, a 302 average down to 277. That's still not anything to shake at. A 277 average is still solid. So when I'm looking at that, I say, okay, instead, we went and we traded with the Pirates and we got Carlos Santana, a proven veteran. I'll give him that. A proven veteran hitter. He's been there, done that. He's been to the World Series. He's done it for that time the Indians, but now the Guardians. He was with that team when they went to World Series. And I can see we wanted a veteran bat. But this wasn't like in 2018 where we just added a guy like Curtis Granderson and we thought, okay, now we have our veteran guy, our guy to bring off the bench or put in the outfield when we need him. We needed offensive bats in this lineup at the trade deadline this season. And we went and got Mark Canha, who Canha has turned out a little bit better here as of late for the Brewers. And Carlos Santana has been coming around a little bit. But the production-wise, Randall Grichuk and CJ Cron took the hat. When you look at those 2 guys compared to the other 2 guys, they took the hat. And yet the Brewers were in on it, in quotations. They were in on that Randall Grichuk and CJ Cron kind of guys, but they didn't pull that trigger on those guys. And that's where I'm really, really worried about this Brewers team is that they're never going to get over the hump because the front office and ownership will not do that little bit more to get them over the hump. They won't add that piece, that one guy we're missing, the offensive help that we're missing. I mean, we look, and this is just an example, in this last offseason, a guy like Justin Turner. And Turner, in this last season, he's been hitting pretty darn solid for the Boston Red Sox. Right now, he is sitting at a 288 average, 26 doubles, 20 home runs, 79 RBIs. Okay? Now, people say, well, we couldn't afford a guy like Justin Turner. Are you kidding me? We couldn't afford to deal with him and the Red Sox. The Red Sox were going to pay him way more than we were going to pay him. On the contrary, 2023, he's owed $8,300,000. $8 million for a guy hitting 288. A guy who can play third base and also can play first base. he would have addressed your hole at third base this season. Or he would even have addressed your problem at DH all season long here. He's been playing DH for the Red Sox this season. But he is still able and has that ability to play third base for a team. Would it be ideal? No, he's getting a little bit older, but he could play the position. If you needed Justin Turner to play first base for you, he would figure out how to play first base for you. But that's where I'm looking with this Brewers team in the front office here, is I'm worried that they don't take that leap. They don't go for proven guys. Brewer fans, we watched Justin Turner kick our pants for years. 2018, we watched him kick our pants. We watched the whole Dodgers kick our pants, but we watched Justin Turner was on that team. Justin Turner was on that team when they won again. Justin Turner is a proven winner for these guys. He's a proven hitter. The guy can hit. We know that. And yet, we didn't think this could be the shot we take. We took a shot on a guy like Luke Voigt. We took the easy way. All that the Brewers front office does is take the easy way. We don't take that leap of faith. We don't risk it. The only year that we risked it was when we went and traded for Christian Yelich and we signed Lorenzo Cain. We risked it. We risked it all that year. We went after two guys who were Lorenzo Cain's contract was a little bit bigger, but then we traded a lot to get a guy like Christian Yelich. And history tells us that it worked out right away. Yelich, MVP season, and MVP runner-up. Lorenzo Cain in the running for that MVP also, and a couple gold gloves in there. Should have won a lot more gold gloves, actually. But so where I'm looking with that is that they splashed one time. And then they said, okay, we brushed our hands. We got to walk away. This pitching staff's only going to be here so long for this Brewers team. Burns, Woodruff, Peralta, you're only going to have those guys for so long. Looking like next year is it. If you don't trade Burns this offseason, you got him one more season, and then he's gone. Woodruff, you can't sign him back. He's gone. I know people won't be really worried about losing Willie Adames, but he's gone. So that's where I'm looking with this Brewers team is that your window is closing with these stars. You're going to have guys coming up, Jacob Mizorowski, Tyler Wolfsener, Aaron Ashby if he turns out to be anything solid, Robert Gasser, Freddie's signed for a little bit longer of a deal there. You're going to have makeshift guys that fill in there, I agree. But with the solid starting pitching staff, the three-headed monster that everybody fears when they play the Brewers, the team that the other teams in the playoffs don't want to meet simply because of their pitching staff. It's not because of our offense. No team says, I don't want to play the Brewers because their offense is going to explode. They're just going to light us up. Not a single team has said that. You know what teams say? Our pitching staff. We don't want to face the Brewers because we don't want to face Burns, Woodruff, Peralta 3 games to start a series here in the playoffs. They would tell us any day, I'll face Christian Yelich, William Contreras, Carlos Santana. I'll face those guys because if Contreras and Yelich get on, I know that the combination of Adames, Santana, and Marcano, whoever they have in that next spot, odds are we can get them out. And that's where I'm looking with this Brewers team is we stay stagnant. We don't go over the top. We don't push the button. We don't really try to do too much. We just stay. We stay to keep fans in the seats. We stay just good enough. We get into the playoffs, we lose. Why? Our offense isn't good enough. Last couple of years, our pitching staff has been good enough. You look at this season now, like I said, this pitching staff, I talked about it yesterday. This pitching staff, you score them 3 to 4 runs, they're good enough to get you a win. But it's just a matter of, can the Brewers score those 3 to 4 runs? Burns is going to give up runs. You cannot expect Corbin Burns to walk out there every day and just say, you're out, you're out, you're out, in a row. He's not going to get 27 outs for you. He's going to give up a few runs. He's going to give up a long ball. Same with Woodruff. Same with Peralta. Same with Devin Williams out of your bullpen. He's going to give up runs. But when Devin Williams comes into the top of the 9th and you have a 1-run lead and he gives it and it's tie ball game now going into the bottom half, does this Brewers team have enough to score that run to get that lead back, to win the game? Do they have enough? And looking at this Brewers team right now, I saw a lot of opportunities. Trade deadline, last offseason, guys like Justin Turner, CJ Cron, Randall Grichuk, guys that could have put the Brewers over that little hump. The guys that could have added that piece that if they came up in a pressure situation, I got a feeling they could come through. CJ Crone, I got a feeling with him. I really do. I got a feeling he could come through. Justin Turner, he's proven to come through in big situations. Carlos Santana, Mark Canha, they might prove me wrong. They might be the answer. They might come up with some big hits for the Brewers later here in the season, and they could make me shut my mouth about them. But what I've seen so far, Santana, hit or miss. Mark Canha, we don't give him enough playing time. CJ Crone and Randall Grichuk, you couldn't keep a guy like Grichuk on the bench there with a 277 average. When he came to town, he was going to be batting 310. He batted 310 for a little bit there. He's been struggling with the Angels here, but when you go from the Rockies, high altitude over the Angels, and you got to face some of the other guys over there in the AL, different scenario. So you take that, and then you look what the Brewers got, and I really do think that this front office has been failing the Brewers. Even looking at the hitting coaches for the Brewers. You're telling me this front office believes that these two yahoos down there playing Angry Birds, Mario Kart, whatever they're doing on their iPad right now, you really believe that those two are the best options for this Brewers team hitting-wise? I mean, we watched guys, Joey Wiemer, Bryce Terang, Garrett Mitchell, Sal Frelick, all these guys come up to the big leagues, and they're hitting. They look good. They look good coming up. And then all of a sudden, they just can't seem to. They don't even look. And I know people talk about, AAA hitting's different. AAA pitching's different than facing Major League pitching. AA pitching's different than facing Major League pitching. Yeah, I agree. But it doesn't change the mechanics of a swing. Watching Joey Wiemer right now, if I was a hitting coach, I couldn't watch him without thinking to myself, oh my gosh, how can I fix this guy? How can I make it so that I don't have to watch his bat look like he's trying to chop a piece of wood down at 1,000,000 miles per hour, straight up and down, before he actually swings across? Because that's what it looks like when I'm watching Joey Wiemer right now. Sal Frelick, I hope they don't touch his swing. Because Sal Frelick is a contact swinger, and I don't want to see any launch angle or anything out of a guy like Sal Frelick. Bryce Terang, the best thing they did was send him down to AAA, where he could get some less pressured at-bats, brought him back up, and he seemed to be able to let that curveball in on his hands go. It drops down in the zone, it's not even in the zone, it goes away from him, he lets that go. But that's where I'm looking right now with this Brewers front office is that they're failing these Brewers. They're failing us as fans, as just fans of the Brewers. They're failing us by who they're putting in that dugout, hitting coach-wise, for this Brewers, especially hitting coach-wise. I don't think Craig Counsell's really the problem in this scenario. I think, and this is far-fetched talk here, but I think there's a lot of pull over Craig Counsell, what he does manager-wise there in-game. Because Craig Counsell's not a dumb man. We've seen that throughout the years with Craig Counsell. He's won, look at how many games he's won by a run this year for this Brewers team. He knows how to manage a game. We watched him early on in his career. He knows how to manage a baseball game. You're telling me that Craig Counsell thinks that Willy Adames in the 5 spot or the 4 spot or the 2 spot for the longest time there and then the 3 spot at times? Do you think Craig Counsell really thinks that's the best spot for a guy like Willy Adames? If he really does, deep down, if he really does, I'll take the bullet and I'll say he's an idiot. But I don't think that's where Craig Counsell is. I really don't. Unless if he's completely losing his marbles, unless he wants to just pack it up and go out to New York and be with the Mets and be with David Stearns out there. I don't think that's what he really thinks. I think there's a lot of pull from managers, or from the front office, from the upper echelon of this ball club, telling him, hey, Craig, I really want you to keep these guys out there this season for this Brewers team. Because Joey Wiemer is a fan favorite. And Willy Adames, he's a fan favorite. And Bryce Terang, just a fan favorite. Little does he know that the fans are watching this and they're losing faith in a guy like Joey Wiemer. They've already lost faith in Willy Adames. This last weekend, it might just be the baseball gods finally granting Willy Adames a couple hits. So we don't jump the gun on that. Tyrone Taylor, I was high on him and talking about him because of his last 7 games, but these last 7 games, it might be the baseball gods just saying, Tyrone, you deserve a couple of good games here, but you're going to come back down to earth here pretty soon, because he walked out at Globe Life Global Life Stadium there versus the Rangers like he was a man on fire. And I don't know if that's going to continue. And I'm really thinking it might be that fairy tale thing. He's hot, and we've seen Tyrone Taylor cool off, and I'm worried that that's what we're going to see. But that's what I'm seeing right now, and that's what I'm thinking with this Brewers front office really right now. And I'd love to hear you guys' opinion on it, what you think about this front office and how they're working this season for the Brewers. Or for this season, but also in the last couple seasons. See what you guys are thinking about them, because where I'm at, I don't think that they're doing everything that they possibly can to put the best team on the field for the Brewers. I think that they're not overspending. I will agree with that. They're not overspending on guys, but they're also not going after guys who like Justin Turner, who's not going to demand a lot, but could have a lot of return for you for a ball club that really lacks hitting right now. But with that, that's about all I got for the Brewers right now. We're going to fly around the league real quick and check out some of the scores here, especially in the NL Central. Cardinals dropped a game to the Pirates 11-1. 16 hits for the Pirates there, 5 hits for the Cardinals. Cardinals continue to struggle this season. Tigers really stretched out the Cubs there. 7-6 final. Cubbies got the victory. The Reds and Angels were postponed. Their makeup date is set for August 23rd, so it'll be an afternoon night game for the Reds out there. Other than that, other games, the Phillies took care of the Giants 10-4 final there. Mets taking care of the Braves 10-4, and looking around there, that is about it for scores here, really, that are impacting the Brewers as of right now, especially looking at that between the division leader and wild card race. Cubs took care of them, Reds on a bye, or not a bye, but a postponement, and then the Phillies taking care of the Giants today. Tonight, another game between the Cubs and Tigers. That's set for a 5:40 start. Reds and Angels set for an 8:38 start. At least they get a little bit earlier games. We go out west. We get the 9:10 starts out there. Other than that, Mets and Braves are in the middle of a 3-game set. Cardinals and Pirates, and the Giants and Phillies will play another game in that series. Well, with that, we're going to jump over into some Packers news, and we're going to recap the Packers-Patriots. Second game of the preseason there happened this last weekend. Looking at the box score for that game, Sean Clifford looked good for the Packers, 13 for 19, 137 yards. No interceptions, so took care of the ball a little bit better this time out. Jordan Love looked pretty good for this Packers team, 5 for 8, 84 yards. He had 1 touchdown throw. Emmanuel Wilson, 15 carries for 63 yards. A.J. Dillon, 6 carries for 25 yards. Aaron Jones got his 1 carry of the game for 6 yards. Looked good in that 1 carry, though. I'll give him that. Looked so good, they didn't have to play him again. They're like, this is all we need to see out of you, Aaron. Receiving-wise, Malik Heath looked good. 5 receptions, 75 yards for him on 5 targets. Romeo Doubs, 2 targets, 2 catches, 52 yards. Grant DeBoose, he had 2 catches for 27 yards, 4 targets. Jaden Reed, in 1 catch, he had 19 yards and a touchdown, a solid touchdown catch. Luke Musgrave, 2 catches for 13 yards. 3 targets for him. Then Emmanuel Wilson, 15 yards. And he had 2 targets overall there, 2 catches on the game. Looking at it was a little bit of a struggle there for the Lions there early on. A bad snap by Josh Myers, got a fumble lost, which gave the Patriots that early lead there for them. Other than that, looking at the defense here, solid game out of Jimmy Phillips Jr. and Anthony Johnson, both with 6. Well, Jimmy had 6 tackles, and Anthony had 4 tackles. Jimmy actually had 5 solo tackles on the game. So some solid play out of the defense there. I was looking around and just scrolling through social media so far, and I saw a guy, not my favorite guy to listen to, but I love hearing the controversy he likes to spew up, and that's Colin Cowherd. And I heard his take on Jordan Love, and he said Jordan Love will not be successful because he's seen what he heard was going to be of Jordan Love, and that is Jordan Love is a game manager. He's not anything special. He's just a game manager. Yeah, he's been playing a game. He's been playing this game like a game manager so far. In his fourth season, he's playing like a game manager, and I'll give him that. He is. But Jordan Love's also playing a little bit on the safe side. I haven't seen Jordan Love. I watched that throw. He had a couple great throws there against the Patriots. And in those two throws, I was like, if this is the game manager you're talking about, I can live with that. I can live with the game manager kind of style he's playing. Jordan Love, you watch him in practice, and if you get that practice Jordan Love where you watched him in that, I can't remember what practice it was, but he made that no-look sidearm throw there, weaved it in between two defenders. I think Jones caught it in the end zone, but I could be wrong there, but I just remember the throw. Rolling out, made the throw, but that's where I'm looking with Jordan Love is that we've seen in these practices, these scrimmages, everything like that, he can make that throw. He can make that little extra, give that little extra pizzazz, in onto that throw. I just think he's playing it safe. I don't think he's trying to do too much. I don't think he's trying to overdo it. I think he's just doing just enough that he can make the solid read, make the solid play. I think he's comfortable. He looks comfortable out there, and that's what you really want out of Jordan Love right now. I think when he gets comfortable and then he gets confident and he gets, and it's lack of better terms, cocky. He gets a little cocky out there. I think you're going to see Jordan Love, a different side of Jordan Love, where he's going to make those throws, make that extra throw or that extra little something on that throw. That's just going to be like, whoa, okay, that's Jordan Love. That's the guy. That's the guy that we expected to see, and that's what we're seeing right now. I've watched Jordan Love 2 preseason games right now. I can't say I have anything else but faith that Jordan Love, if the Packers defense plays up to snuff this year as good as they should be, I really do think that if Jordan Love can lead this Packers offense to just decently good this next season going in, I think they could be easily NFC North champs or playoff contenders at least in the wild card race for the NFC because with this team, the defense is good. The backfield's good with Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, and I think Emmanuel Wilson will work his way in there. The wide receiver core, though young, with Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, even a guy like Malik Heath and Jaden Reed, that's a solid wide receiving core. That's a wide receiving core that those guys can flat out move. They can run. And it's going to be hard for secondaries to keep up with those guys. They are shifty in the open field. So you put them guys together, you throw that with Jordan Love, the game manager, according to Colin Cowherd, you give him that the offensive line. If the offensive line's healthy and they play like they should, with a healthy Elton Jenkins, with a healthy Bakhtiari, Josh Myers, whoever gets in there at that Zach Tom, whoever gets in there at that center position, I think this Packers offense could be poised to really break out here more than what people are giving them credit for in this next season. So that's where I'm seeing right now with Jordan Love, and especially with that take, is I could see Jordan Love really exploding this next season once he gets the confidence. I really do think the confidence is going to be key to Jordan Love going into this next season. Next, I'm looking at, in NFL news, I'm looking at the NFC North in total right now. And looking at, I've seen a lot of talk this last week talking about quarterback comparisons in the NFC North. Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, Justin Fields, Jordan Love. Experience is going to outweigh everything in the NFC North. That's what a lot of guys are saying. Experience. Kirk Cousins' experience. Jared Goff's experience is going to reign supreme over guys like Justin Fields, over guys like Jordan Love. I don't think so. You want to talk about a guy who is game manager? Kirk Cousins. You want to talk about a guy who has very impressive stats year in and year out at the quarterback position and puts his team in positions to win? If the defense played up to snuff for the Vikings last year, who would have put the Vikings in a very good spot come playoff times, probably would have won a couple playoff games. That's the Vikings for you. That's Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is a game manager. He doesn't do anything over the top. He doesn't do anything crazy. He doesn't make the Patrick Mahomes, the Joe Burrow, even a guy like Aaron Rodgers kind of throws. But Kirk Cousins wins. Somehow he wins ball games. He makes the simple throw. He makes that slant route. He makes it look easy. He makes that throw every single time. Just a slow, methodical moving of the football, but he gets it done. And that's where a guy like Jordan Love, if you want to call him a game manager, he ends up anything like Kirk Cousins with the stats that Kirk Cousins puts up year in, year out for whatever team he is on at that time. I'll take that. I will take that. I mean, look at last season for Kirk Cousins. He had 4,547 yards passing last season for this Vikings team. A lot of it to Justin Jefferson. And I was the one who I told everybody Justin Jefferson saves Kirk Cousins a lot. Kirk Cousins tries to go out of his comfort zone. He tries to throw up a ball that he normally wouldn't throw, and Justin Jefferson went and got it. But that's the benefit of having a guy like Justin Jefferson on your team is you can just chuck it up and he can go get it for you. But that's where I'm looking at this NFC North, and I'm saying, okay, with the quarterbacks kind of being even, Kirk Cousins, game manager, he's not over the top. He's not Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, but he's still a solid quarterback. Jordan Love plays anything like that. Solid game manager, solid guy to have in there at quarterback, can make the throws that you need him to make. Jordan Love's in there for you. Justin Fields, he likes to do a lot with his legs. We watched him in college. I watched him in college a lot. He can make the throws, but it seems like he doesn't trust those receivers out there. They still don't have that great of a wide receiving core, and I don't know if their offensive line is even that good yet for the Bears. So Justin Fields, I eliminate him from the conversation. I really do. I think he's a solid quarterback, and I think he's got a lot of potential. I just think he's got a terrible setup right now with the Bears. And then looking at Jared Goff is a solid quarterback, but I don't think he's really over the top great. He made the throws last year. He made the throws he had to make. The Lions rolled a little bit there in that last year, but I really do think this division is going to come down to Jordan Love and Kirk Cousins, the 4-year rookie starting quarterback for the Packers, and Kirk Cousins, the been there, done that guy who makes the throws he's got to make. He's got weapons on his team with Justin Jefferson. So maybe it will come down to defense. Okay, if we went down to defense, I got the Packers. I really do. I have this Packers defense. I don't think Minnesota's defense, looking at last year, I think Minnesota's defense was their greatest downfall. I think the Packers take care of them there on the defensive aspect. And if it comes down to kicking, well, the Packers are screwed. The Packers don't have a kicker. I don't trust Anders Carlson yet, so I'm going to take anybody over the Packers there on the kicking front. But that's where I'm looking at the NFC North right now. I think it'll stack out. I think the Packers I think the Packers are going to surprise a lot of people, and I think Packers-Vikings will battle it out there for the top spot in the NFC North here this next season. And they have a couple big meetings there. They're going to play on, it looks like October 29th. They're going to have a noon kickoff there in Minnesota, and then coming back for a December 31st kickoff. That's going to be, they're going to play at home first off versus the Vikings. Then they're going to go to the Vikings there for the 7:20 kickoff there on New Year's Eve. So solid looking season there for the Packers. They're getting the Vikings on New Year's Eve. But with that, I'm going to check around the league here and check out the scores from other teams there in that week 2 of the preseason. Right now, as I'm recording, Commanders, Ravens, they're in the middle of a Monday night duel. Other than that, looking around the league here, Browns, Eagles, they finished in a tie, 18 apiece. Giants, 21-19 winners over the Panthers. Bengals, 13-13 tie with the Falcons. Jaguars, 25-7 over the Lions. Texans fell to the Dolphins, 28-3. Steelers, 27-15 winners over the Bills. Colts, 24-17 winners over the Bears. Buccaneers, 13-6 winners over the Jets. Patriots, they beat the Packers. They're 21-17. Titans, 24-16 winners over the Vikings. Chiefs, 38-10 winners over the Cardinals. 49ers beat the Broncos 21-10. Raiders 34-17 over the Rams. Seahawks over the Cowboys 22-14. And the Saints took care of the Chargers 22-17 with a hurricane coming in. I can't believe they played that game. I really can't. Now with a hurricane. And then apparently they had an earthquake out there too. Well, there's a hurricane coming in. And this game got played. I looked at pictures out there. Dodger Stadium was completely, basically underwater. And they played a game there last night out in California. So that was just nuts for me to see of a game like that. Looking at some of our rookies there in the week 2 of the preseason, Bryce Young 3 for 6 in his second game for the Panthers, struggled a little bit. Other than that's another rookie so far. Let's check out C.J. Stroud from the Texans, 7 for 12, a little bit better than his first performance. Looked a little bit better there for the Texans there in week 2 of the preseason. But with that, another talk, former Badger Jonathan Taylor has actually been given permission by the Colts to actually seek a trade upcoming in this next season for Jonathan Taylor. So big news for Taylor. He's been trying to get out of there. So solid to see that he's finally going to get out of that contract. You would think he was getting enough from the Colts, and they finally let him move out of there. So good news for him. Also, in Wisconsin Badger news, football news, impressive in camp so far, Bryson Green, wide receiver, just coming back from a shoulder surgery that has kept him out here for the first little bit. He got implemented back onto the field and back into first team and looking great so far, flying around at like 100 miles per hour. Luke Fickell's, he's impressed by his work ethic and how hard he has worked to get back. And now that he's back, how hard he's working to get himself into that starting role. He believes that this season he'll be put in there with C.J. Williams, Shimere Dike, and Will Pauling into this next season here. He looks like it's going to be a wide receiving core. The main starters will be Dike, Pauling, C.J. Williams, and Bryson Green. So good news for Bryson Green there, getting back with the first team, coming back from injury. And then also I was looking around and I saw a lot of the Heisman preseason top guys for this upcoming season. And I noticed, and it was expected, I didn't really expect it to be, but Braylon Allen currently ranked 21st in the rankings. But I'm looking at this pass-heavy offense, or what is supposed to be a pass-heavy offense for this Badgers team. And with that ability to spread out that defense so much, I think Braylon Allen could be in line for a breakout season here with Wisconsin. They have a solid offensive line up front. You add that wide receiving core in there and a guy like Tanner Mordecai who can really sling it around. The defense is going to be on their heels a lot. They're going to have to respect the pass while also getting ready for the run. So I think that's going to open up a lot of holes that Braylon Allen did not have in these past couple seasons with Wisconsin, especially looking at, you look at these past couple seasons, the pass wasn't so much there. They really had to worry about guys loading up the box there. They had 5 guys in the box there for the Badgers when they were trying to move the football. So now you look at this next season with the offense spread out a little bit more. That's going to open up a lot of running lanes there for Braylon Allen. And I also look at a guy like Tanner Mordecai, a guy who has passed for over 7,000 yards in his career. I think he's a viable candidate to be up there for Heisman watch at least. I think he's 25th or 28th on the list this season for Heisman guys. But with this wide receiving core, Phil Longo now at the offensive coordinator, Luke Fickell coaching him, Braylon Allen in the backfield, and this offensive line, I could see if the Badgers get to the conference championship game, if the Badgers take care of Ohio State, if they beat Ohio State at Camp Randall, and they run this season undefeated, because if you beat Ohio State, I expect to see this Wisconsin team just roll it out. I think there are 2 games that they're not favored in are at Minnesota and then the game against Ohio State. So if they take care of those 2 games, they take care of their schedule. They go into that Big Ten conference game undefeated. I would assume if they beat Ohio State, they'll get Michigan. I think they might get Michigan anyways if they make it out of the West. Put them against a team like Michigan. If they pull it off against Michigan, or the college football playoff ends up taking 2 Big Ten teams because they're one went in with 1 loss and Michigan with no losses, and the rest of the college football field shakes out, they should be in the talks. Because if you made it that far, that means Tanner Mordecai or one of your freshmen have played a great season at quarterback, and Braylon Allen has played a heck of a season at tailback for you. And some of these wide receivers, I could see guys like C.J. Williams coming from USC, and then looking at a guy like Bryson Green for breakout seasons for this Badger team. There's a lot of guys who could finish, especially with all Big Ten awards at the end of the season here, first team, second team. I could see a lot of these guys getting on the first team, especially if this offense explodes. If the hype lives up to what it's supposed to be, I think the Badgers are set up for a great season here. Well, with that, that's about all I got for today, actually. So with that, that's about all I got. So Get out, watch the Brewers tonight, 7:10 start there from American Family Field. We're going to have Miley on the mound tonight. Good old Wade Miley. Looking for a Brewers win. Keep the roll going. Get it 2-game sweep here against the Twins. Got an off day there in between their next series then. So looking for some big things out of the Brewers tonight. But with that, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Thank you guys for listening. Deuces, Brew Crew.